Giancarlo Stanton not overreacting to slow start. Like,
Yeah,
why?
that's so silly. Like, that's the dumbest thing ever. They're like, oh man, Giancarlo Stanton's off to a slow start. Like, bro, he had 2 at bats today. He saw 6 pitches.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Diller, bringing you guys back another podcast. This is the Yankee Way podcast number 2. I'm here with my co-host, John, again. How are you doing, sir?
Good. I'm home again, so you guys can hear me actually this time instead of me being in a hotel room, a nondescript hotel room in the middle of nowhere. Somewhere near the Nixon line.
You're not going to run like 200 kilobytes per second on your webcam now, where it's like glitching everywhere.
No. I'm good now. I'm here.
We're back to greatness, right?
Plugged
back
into
to
the
greatness.
wall. Yeah.
He's got his Giants shirt and everything ready too. He's not screwing around for this podcast.
Shirt. Yeah, man. I don't have my blue one on, but I have my red one on. My jersey.
Who is it? Who's your jersey?
Victor Cruz.
All right.
Victor Cruz, it's Victor Cruz. I think it's Jeremy Shockey too.
Jeremy Shockey? Oh, I love some Jerry Shockey. You know he's from Oklahoma, right? I think it's from Ada, Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's like one of the few athletes that has come out of Oklahoma. It's crazy.
Small world. Let me double check that real quickly. I wanted to double check that.
But while he goes ahead and checks that, double checks whatever he's checking right now.
Making sure I'm right here. Yeah, it is Jeremy Shockey. Okay, all right. I'm not losing my mind.
Let's go, Jeremy Shockey.
I remember my history from when I was a little kid.
But anyways, we're going to talk about some Yankee baseball. There's not a whole lot to talk about because obviously it's still spring training. Not a whole lot has happened. But I think the first thing we should talk about, and you mentioned it, and I didn't want to say anything because I'm probably going to go on a pretty big rant about it.
Yeah.
But do you want to tell me this, John? Can you please tell me why I saw on Twitter the other day that in quotes, by the way, I'm quoting this.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Giancarlo Stanton not overreacting to slow start. Like, why?
That's so silly. Like, that's the dumbest thing ever. They're like, oh man, Giancarlo Stanton's off to a slow start. Like, bro, he had 2 at bats today. He saw 6 pitches. Like, what do you want? Seriously, this is the guy who came to Yankee Stadium and struck 5 times in his first game.
And I'm quoting this, literally, this is straight from the article. It said, Stanton made his spring debut and struck out in both at-bats, but he is, wait for it, not concerned. Wow, I wonder why. I wonder why he's not concerned. Hasn't seen live pitching in about 4 months. He's also a guy who carried the Yankees in the postseason with over a 1.4 OPS and a 254 WRC plus. Why are we writing about this, New York Post? Why do we care? This is stupid. Please stop doing this.
Guy who is now tied for the record for the most home runs in a Yankee postseason, and they didn't even make it past the first round. Like, they got past the wild card round and then got to the DS and then lost in the DS. Like, imagine if he made it to the World Series. This dude hit 12 home runs in this whole postseason. Like, unbelievable. Come on. It was a slow start. He's had 2 at-bats. And look at him now. He's mashing the ball all over the place. He looks good in the box.
2 baseballs 109 miles per hour for doubles today. Both doubles look great. Outstanding. Stanton healthy? That's a dangerous man.
Good. He looked good. He looks confident. He looks like he's on time. Looks like he knows what he's doing. He's got an idea. He looks good. Looks like he's moving well. I like it. We'll see what the next step is, I guess. Maybe he plays a game in the field coming up.
Yankee fans are going to lose their mind if he does because they're going to be like, injury this, injury that, injury this, injury that. You know how they are. I know. That's just the price of admission.
I feel like he's got a better chance of getting injured running to first base than he does, like, playing the outfield. Like, I don't know. What's going to happen in the outfield? It's open grass out there. Like, what's he going to do? Run into somebody? Run into the wall?
Run into a rock, basically, into the wall?
He's not going to pull a Mariano Rivera and run into the wall. He'll be fine.
Alrighty, so that is about it with Stanton. I don't think we need to go more into him. I think another thing that we should get off the bat real quick is it was the title of the last podcast, the Gary Sanchez hate train.
Nice little, we're going to get it right off the top of the bat here. Like, good one.
But, you know, I always have to talk about it. I always have to support my guy, Gary Sanchez. This is another quote, because we're popping quotes left and right in this podcast. This was from
Take notes.
DJ LeMahieu. DJ LeMahieu, you guys can take this very seriously, 110% seriously. He said he is one of the best catchers in the league. Absolutely, man.
DJ LeMahieu said that. And he doesn't say many words. That was like all of his interview. That's it. He said like 10 words. That's the whole thing. But he still put it about Gary Sanchez. And Judge, too. Judge, too, said that, too. Judge said he could be AL MVP this year. He can do it.
There you go. DJ LeMahieu and Aaron Judge.
And everyone in the comment section is like, no way, dude. I'm like, guys, he is the second highest slugging percentage among catchers of all time behind Mike Piazza, who, by the way, is in the Hall of Fame.
Top 5.
He's pretty good.
He's literally been a top 5 catcher from his offense alone in the last, since 2017. He's been a top 5 catcher just because of his offense.
If we're in the business of small sample sizes like the New York Post likes to do, if we're in that business too, then Gary Sanchez has caught 2 of 3 base stealers this year. That's higher than Yadier Molina all time.
Oh, shots at Yadier, I see. Throwing shots at him?
Gary's winning the MVP confirmed, although I don't know.
I do want to list this.
Let's be real. The awards is Judges this year. Let's be real.
He should have won in 2017, but he's about to claim his second MVP award. He's going to get robbed again.
Speaking of that, Judge looks amazing in spring training. The results aren't there, but like the signs are there. He's hitting the ball hard. He got rung up today on a pitch that was basically like, it wouldn't even be a strike on Brett Garner, but it was a strike on him for some reason. But
you will appreciate this. You will appreciate this. I tweeted this earlier today, and it said that this season I'm going to record every time that Judge gets screwed over by a bad call and make a huge, massive compilation video that's going to be both depressing and infuriating at the end of the year.
You should make a donation to charity every time he gets a really bad strike call. There would be so many tax deductions at the end of the year for you. Good Lord.
I do want to mention this, though, with Gary Sanchez. You already mentioned the fact that he's basically... what word am I looking for? I can't English right now. He's already thrown out 2 runners. Which is excellent. He also hasn't committed an error in 19 innings. He's hit 2 home runs. He has 2 walks, and he has a 1.455 OPS. He looks wonderful.
One of the most impressive things is that Gary got a walk today on 4 pitches and did not swing out of his shoes on 3-0 because he loves doing that.
Mm-hmm.
He's just swinging.
And this too, I don't know if you caught this. I don't know if you watched the game from start to finish. But he had a shot to Oppo. He went Oppo, and it gave me 2017 flashbacks, and I was so happy to see that.
Oh, you're going to shift on me? All right, I'll just go through the right side. And they did with Andujar, too. They didn't learn the lesson. Andujar did the same thing. And also, by the way, for the shift to work, the pitcher needs to throw the ball in the right spot. You can't let them hit Oppo. You can't do that. You have to throw the ball inside. You can't do that. Like, Wheeler was just like, all right, I'll just throw an outside fastball to you twice.
Wheeler getting beat up by the Yankees again. What's new?
Yeah, Wheeler did not look good today. They had to mercy rule the inning, and then they put him back out there again. Tough.
So let's talk about I think pretty much the biggest underrated point of spring training of I can't even describe it, but it's just been very good. Lucas Luetge. It's going to be like me trying to pronounce his last name isn't as bad as trying to pronounce Asher. I'm just going to call him Walsh. Just Walsh. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his whole name. But this man, Lucas, 3 innings, has only given up 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and he struck out 8. Where does this guy come from? Did Matt Blake fix him?
Crazy.
I mean, I tweeted this earlier. I was like, I was so sad when Matt Blake didn't talk about Lucas. I really wanted him to talk about him because he's been dominant
today. The technical issues we had today, it was a little tough.
Yeah, that is true.
On the radio.
You saw Aaron Boone with the casual hello? Like, he was just like trying to figure out if he was on air or not. It was the funniest thing.
Like, hello, is this thing on? No, but this guy is so weird to me. Like, he's never been a strikeout pitcher, but he's out here carving up people, making them look silly. Now, granted, it's spring training, but yeah, I think the guy has a legitimate shot to make this team. And like, we need lefties. I'd love a lefty that can get out both people, both lefties and righties. I love it. Sign me up. Give it
His breaking balls, like when you said carving him up, his breaking balls are disgusting. Filthy,
Sheesh.
filthy. That's hard. That is a hard
Breaking ball.
hard pitch to hit that he's throwing, man. His breaking
Damn,
balls are
man.
disgusting.
Those front hip curveballs from lefties they'll just buckle you. You're like, no thanks. Speaking of that, Montgomery looked fantastic today. I mean, the only thing he gave up was 2 really bloop singles. I mean, other than that, looked great.
He's very unlucky. There's nothing he could have done about that.
Well,
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if Montgomery is our 4th/5th starter, and I only say 5th when Sevy eventually comes back, and if he stays healthy, a big if. I want him to stay healthy because obviously we know the potential of Severino, but it's always a big if in the air with this Yankee team for the last few years. But if Monty is your 4th/5th starter, that's nuts. I'll take that any day of the week, man. I'm so happy, excited for this team. Let's talk about Kluber. Kluber's been good. Jameson has been awesome, man. I've almost bought a jersey of his. I am full dead on set with this man. He looks great. He looks great. And did you hear what he said about having traffic on the bases? Most people would be like, oh, this is a bad thing. But he basically came out and said that he was like, I think it was a good thing because I haven't had it in a while and it just made him feel alive and stuff. And I'm like, that's the picture that you want in October, man. I'm so excited for Jameson. He has so many good positives.
Had good stuff. I mean, he limited the damage when someone did get on base. I mean, that's great. It's fine. I'm happy with it. I don't know where he'll slot in, but I'm happy with his rotation. Like, it looks pretty good so far, but we're still looking for that elusive 5th starter. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with that. I mean, I think the rotation right now is pretty set. I mean, I've tweeted about this, but Julius Chachin needs to go get out of here. He needs to leave. I'm tired of seeing this guy just get out.
When they
it's spring training. Don't freak out. This guy has an ERA that's like, I've never seen an ERA this high unless you're like a loop-de-loop ERA. Like, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He's pitched for 2 innings. He has like an 18 ERA. Stop.
Also, 2 other guys. I think Domingo looked pretty solid on his start, and Johnny Lasagna looked good too. Don't give up on Johnny Lasagna. His fastball is electric. It's disgusting. I was
watching Domingo Germán start, and I'm like, this guy's gonna throw an immaculate inning in the 1st inning. I know it because he's just like strike, 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 strike. I'm just like, oh man, he doesn't care. He's just gonna throw strikes at will, and he did. Looked really well. The changeup looked dumb. The changeup looked stupid. Yeah. Like you said, Johnny Lozano looks great. Super happy about him. Let's see if he can bounce back from his performance against the was it? I think it was the Astros 2 years ago, and then like I know he got beaten up, and see how he bounces back from that. I guess let's see where he comes in. Probably long reliever. Don't think he's gonna be a starter anymore, but who knows?
So outside of that, I think another thing that we could talk about, because it's always a topic of discussion, I always see people talking about it on Twitter and such, and I actually pulled up some pretty good information to back up my claim, and I know we've talked about it a little bit before, but I've tweeted it till I'm blue in the face, man, but I'm just like, for the love of God, I'm begging you, please have Aaron Hicks start leading off, please.
I love this idea.
Please, and let DJ in the 3-hole.
Aaron Hicks and lead off. Where you batting DJ?
You're batting him in the 3-hole.
We're gonna bat DJ in the 3.
Yes.
But you're batting Stanton behind him?
Stanton? That's always an option. Luke Voigt's always an option.
Okay, so it's tough. It's tough because the problem with this is that I'm not batting Judge any lower than 2. And everybody can yell at me.
No.
I'm not batting Judge any lower than 2.
No, Judge doesn't move.
If you're not batting LeMahieu 1, you have to bat him 3 then, minimum, because you're not moving Judge.
That's what I'm saying. He has to be 3. 3 is perfect. It's usually for the contact hitter anyways. This is my evidence, though. I put up some solid I got some solid information, okay? I actually haven't pulled up this type of information before, but it makes sense in this situation. So my argument for this, even though I've probably argued about 1,000 times and people are getting tired of it, but I am a huge advocate for Hicks in the leadoff position, is that obviously in the American League last year, Hicks led the league, at least the American League, with a 19.4 BB percentage, which is obviously elite, the best in the American League. And then among American League last year as well, he was 7th in on-base percentage. So obviously he's an on-base percentage machine. Now, he gets on base most of the time through his walks. He doesn't hit for average. And Yankee fans complain so much that a lot of Yankee fans complain that Hicks can't hit for average. I'm not a big fan of average, but a lot of Yankee fans complain that he can't hit for average. So why not give him an opportunity to work out the counts? You know, because Hicks can obviously go deep into counts and let him get leadoff walks. And here's the thing. DJ, for example, in 2020, 364 average. Hicks in 2020, 225. Massive difference, right? So if you guys keep complaining about Hicks not being able to hit in key situations, let him lead off, work out counts, and get on base through walks like he's so good at doing. Also, here's the thing. Here's a note. DJ LeMahieu in his career around a 430 slugging, meaning that he doesn't hit a lot of triples and home runs. And DJ LeMahieu in his career, I brought up the specific numbers, 968 singles, 206 doubles, 35 triples, and 85 home runs. Hicks since 2017 has a 15.1 BB percentage, which is well above league average. If this means that DJ LeMahieu is obviously hitting singles for the most of the time, and most of the time, obviously a single equals a walk, they're both the same thing if nobody's on base, I don't see the point in not having Hicks lead off. It makes no sense to me. I mean, I get a lot of people are like, oh, well, I want to give DJ LeMahieu as many bats as possible. But it's just, if people also want to complain at the same time that Hicks can't hit for average, he can't hit in key situations, then why not give him the situation? And you know as well as I do, runs always matter. You know, runs in the first inning matter as much as they do in the fifth or the ninth inning. You always want to score runs. It doesn't matter what point in the game you're at. I don't know why we wouldn't put Hicks in the leadoff position to work off walks. It just makes so much sense to me personally. I know a lot of people are also like, if it's not broken, then don't fix it. And if they don't end up doing this, which they probably won't, I don't see it changing, to be honest with you, as much as I want to. I'm not going to be crying, you know. If they win a championship out of it, I don't really care at the end of the day. As long as they're winning, that's what matters. But I feel like they could end up winning more games, or at least put them into more opportunities to win games if DJ LeMahieu is getting more opportunities to be able to drive runners in. And I think that this would give him more opportunities. That's just my personal opinion. You can tell me what you think.
I mean, the only thing I would say is, would you rather put DJ at the 4 spot just so that way? All right, so listen to this crazy idea. Because when Hicks gets on and then Judge comes up and he does something, I don't know, he whatever he does something. He either gets on base or he doesn't. And then Giancarlo comes up and hits him to the obligatory double play like he always does. What then you have LeMahieu leading off the next inning, you know? Maybe you do that. I don't know. But I see the point, but I don't know. I like DJ in the leadoff spot. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. I see your point. I understand your point. It makes sense. But
I mean, if you don't like it, then you don't like it, man. Like, there's no need to, be sorry about it.
Thing from Hicks, like all of a sudden, like the last 2 or 3 years, he just started walking a lot. Like, is it just me? Like,
no,
all of a sudden, he just started getting on base like a ton.
He never had these BB percentages when he was with the Twins. He had one season where he had a really good BB percentage, and that's pretty much it. Most of his good BB percentage and on-base percentage years, as far as walks is concerned, have been with the Yankees since 2017.
The first year he got here, he was in 123 games. He walked 30 times. Then the next year that he started, you know what? I'm going to stop swinging at these pitches. And now he's one of the only people. He's one of the few people in the major leagues that actually had more walks than strikeouts last year, which is stupid to say the least. But I don't know. I would say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. See where they want. I think that, honestly, DJ does pretty well in the leadoff spot. I mean, maybe people will pitch him differently if he's in a different spot in the lineup. Maybe people will actually care to locate pitches better when there's people on base with LeMahieu. I don't know. I don't know what they do. I don't know the psychology of this game. I'm not that smart.
I do know one thing, though. It doesn't matter where you put DJ LeMahieu. He's always going to get on base, no matter what.
I think it's fine the way it is right now. I mean, don't. I mean, you can experiment it with if things aren't going right, but I think the way it is right now, I think it's a happy median, and it worked. I mean, obviously this team wins a lot of games. They score a lot of runs anyway. I mean, what's the difference between scoring? What's the difference between us doing this and scoring like 10 more runs over the course of a season? We're like, yeah, that didn't really matter very much, but I mean, only if it's a massive change in run production, maybe. But like, this team does fine the way it is. I'm not too concerned about it.
You have to admit, though, that it's pretty ridiculous that DJ LeMahieu had over 100. Like, I don't always put stock into RBIs because it's a matter of chance, obviously. But
by himself.
Like, the fact that he had over 100 RBIs in the leadoff spot, it's actually nuts. Yeah, it's insane. Like, that's a big. that's a huge reason why I want him to move to the 3-hole too, is because I just want to give. I'm all like I get your reasoning, I get some other people's reasoning. Like if it's not broken, don't fix it. I'm just saying that I want to give DJ as many opportunities with runners in scoring position as I can, because DJ's gonna get on base no matter what. So you might as well let him get on base and score a run or two in the process, or 3, depending on if whatever. Well, actually, that wouldn't make any sense because there would only be 2 runners on base. But you get what I mean. Like, it doesn't matter what situation it is. If base is empty, runner on first, second, third, base is loaded, DJ's always going to get a hit no matter what, or he's going to get on base the majority of the time when it matters most. So
this game is so weird because you have a player like Aaron Hicks, and Aaron Hicks is a very unassuming player. Like, he's a switch hitter. He's got power to right, obviously, when he can do that. He can go oppo. He did it off Edwin Diaz, from what I remember. But like, it's so weird to me that this guy is like, oh, we want to put him in leadoff, but like, you can't put him in any other spot in the lineup because he's just not good enough. It's so weird. It's like, oh, well, if Aaron Hicks is good enough to lead off, that means he should be good enough to hit third, right? No, he's not. He should be good enough to hit sixth. Not on this team. Seventh, maybe? No, that's probably Gary's spot. Like, it's so weird to me. It's like you either put him 1 or you put him 9, and then that's it. Like, there's no in between. It's so weird.
And did you? I might be mistaken, but I think in a podcast like last year, did you hypothetically talk about a scenario where you put Hicks 9th, so he gets on base, and then DJ is obviously leadoff, so then you get runs that way?
You put Aaron Hicks in the 9 spot, so that way he's like a second leadoff guy. It's kind of like in the National League when you bat the pitcher 8th, and then you put like your second leadoff guy like after the pitcher, so that way you don't end the inning, you just keep going. Or like that caller from the Michael Francesa's show yelling about that guy when DeGrom's pitching. Like you could do it a lot of ways, but I don't know what the numbers are. Like, maybe someone can figure out, like, someone can simulate this and find out what the optimal strategy is. But like, at the end of the day, DJ batting 1 and then Hicks batting somewhere there as a switch hitter in the 3 or 4 spot is not really the worst thing I've ever seen. It breaks up the righties and makes people work harder, especially if there's an on-base percentage guy with 2 outs. Then they don't know what to do. They're kind of lost. It's weird. Like, there's interesting ways to go about it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a good problem to have. It's always a good problem to have offensive structures and offensive,
have a lot
like,
of
just hypothetically putting guys in different roles and stuff. Like, that's a good problem to have, because obviously this team is just stacked to the core, like one of the best offensive firepowers in the league.
When you have Gary Sanchez, who is, like we said, the second highest slugging percentage all time among MLB catchers, that's your 7-hitter. You've got a pretty good team. Your team is doing pretty well. And then you still have Clint Frazier, legendary bat speed, in there somewhere. You've still got him like in the 8-hole. Like, it's crazy. Like, this team is silly. This team is honestly silly.
All right, so I think we talked about quite a bit, enough to make a pretty good, decent podcast out of. Is there anything you want to talk about real quick?
Man, Mike Ford.
Oh my God.
Not looking good.
You know what?
I just don't want him to. I don't know what we do with him. Because like, I don't know if he has options. I don't know if he's going to the minors. I don't know if we DFA him, put him in the minors. I don't know. Like, all of Yankee Nation wants Jay Bruce right now, but let's be real here, guys. Jay Bruce is like the 6th outfielder right now. Like, what are we doing here? We want Jay Bruce over Mike Tauchman? Sure, maybe, but like, Jay Bruce can't field. I'm sorry, he made one good catch up against the wall. I'm pretty sure Mike Tauchman makes that catch easily, but here we are. I don't know. You really think about Jay Bruce, but I don't think he's got a future on this team.
It drives me wild how much you hate Mike Ford. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Would you trade Tyler Wade for Derek Dietrich right now?
Yes.
I'd do it too.
Wade's defense is not better than what people think it is. It's really not that good.
He can steal a base. That's the only thing, because they're both lefties. They both have about the same amount of offensive firepower. I mean, they both hit like 207. Like, they both, I don't know. It's
Wade's like an 80, 85, 90 WRC plus guy. Dietrich's like 100. So he's like actually a league average. He actually might be above league average a little bit. He might be like 103 WRC plus type of guy. So
just one random day in the summer, you're playing the Orioles. cut Tyler Wade. Yeah, cut Tyler Wade. Get rid of him. Do something with him. Try to put him through waivers. See if he'll go to the minors. But like, get Derek Dietrich, and then one day in the middle of nowhere, just put Urshela at shortstop and just give Torres a day off and just see how he does. And then that way, if Urshela can play shortstop, you don't need Tyler Wade. He becomes expendable. And then you have Derek Dietrich who can play everywhere except for pitcher, catcher, and shortstop. And you're fine. You're covered.
Hey, that's the one thing Mike Ford can do. He can pitch. He struck out somebody before, so don't talk shit about Mike Ford.
Has a lower career ERA than Mike Ford. I don't know about that. Like, come on. Eric Kratz has a lower career ERA than Mike Ford.
We're not going to get into this Eric Kratz conversation. I will not have it. I will not have it. Absolutely not.
I'm pretty sure Rivera has almost as many RBIs as Mike Ford does.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, that's about it. I will not tolerate any Mike Ford slander, and I will not get into the conversation of Eric Kratz. I hope you guys did enjoy the podcast. We'll see you again.
6 RBIs.
Oh, my God. We will see you guys again for the next podcast later. I'm signing out. And yeah, Mike Ford. That's out. That's about all I have to say. Anyways, see you guys later. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and see ya.